They say, oh my God, I see the way you shine. Take my hand, my dear, and place them both in mine. You was passing by, and now I beg to see you dance just one more time. Ooh, I see you, see you, see you every time. And oh my, I like your style. Ooh, you make me cry. And now I beg to see you dance just one more time. So they say, dance for me, dance for me, dance for me, oh, oh. I've never seen anybody do the things you do before. They say, move for me, move for me, move for me, eh, eh, move for me, eh, eh. And when you're done, I'll make you do it all again.
Good morning, APA. This is Mr. Perez bringing you the Geography Department's Assembly. Last Thursday was Earth Day, so the 22nd of April 2021. Now, I know I'm about a week late, but the message in this assembly is still very, very important, and it links to value number 3, a desire to contribute to society in a positive way. This week's quote is from Islam. It goes as follows. Removing harmful things from the road is an act of charity. And that's from the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. And this is very pertinent to today's assembly, because even small acts, whether they be recycling or picking up litter or just walking to school, are actually very, very important in the grand scheme of things. So therefore, small acts shouldn't be downplayed, because in the grand scheme of things, they add up to a bigger cause. So what is Earth Day? Every year, on April 22nd, Earth Day marks the anniversary of the birth of the modern environmental movement in 1970. Earth Day is widely recognized as the largest secular observance in the world, meaning it's not linked to a religion, marked by more than 1 billion people every year as a day of action to change human behavior and create global, national, and local policy changes. And this year, their slogan is Restore Our Earth. And as you can see in this image here on the right, their message is very clear. A healthy planet is not an option, it is a necessity. So why do we have Earth Day? The idea of Earth Day first originated among the people fighting the 1969 Santa Barbara oil spill. It was back then the largest oil spill the United States had ever had, but now following some 2 significantly worse ones, it now ranks 3rd. The first Earth Day, held in 1970, saw millions of people around the world roam the streets with the desire to make a stand for environmental change. Many think of this as being the beginning of the modern environmental activism movement. So clearly, Earth Day is about protecting the Earth. I'd like you to pause the video here and consider the following 2 questions as a tutor group. 1. Why does Earth deserve to be protected, as Earth Day claims to want to do? And number 2, what makes Earth so special and unique as our home? So pause the video here and have a discussion. The COVID-19 pandemic, for which obviously everyone here needs no introduction, is an ongoing global pandemic. And whilst it may have had massive devastating impacts, which we all know, there are some positive impacts coming out of this. Have a watch of this video. What's clear from that video, I think the main message, and you may have thought that I was perhaps a little bit odd for saying that the coronavirus impacts may have had some positive impacts on the environment, was that it's shown that as a country, but also as a world, we can change our behaviors really quickly. We began wearing masks almost overnight in school, if you think about it. We began to social distance. We began to not go into enclosed space, etc. And we did that obviously in relation to a threat, the threat of contracting coronavirus, becoming seriously ill, or potentially dying from it. And the idea from this video is that we need to view the climate crisis as something that needs our behavior changing, as something that if we don't change our behavior, like if we didn't wear masks or didn't social distancing, we'd be in trouble in relation to COVID-19, that not doing things like recycling or taking care of our oceans, eating less red meat, etc., will mean that our environment and our world is placed at threat. So what is your place in this? Every Earth Day can drive a year of energy, enthusiasm, and commitment to create a new plan of action for our planet. It is now widely known that we're living in the age of humans, the so-called Anthropocene. But does this become a period of hope and recovery that we will look back on fondly in years to come, or a period of extinction and destruction? David Attenborough says, "The Garden of Eden is no more. We have changed the world so much that scientists say that we're living in a new geological age, the Anthropocene, the age of humans." So what's my challenge to you this week? I imagine that no one at APA would have disagreed with today's assembly. We are harming our planet. This is a fact. But what's important now is action. So this week, my challenge to you is to take inspirations from Project Drawdown and try to do any of the following. The first one could be the idea of walkable cities. How could you contribute to that? Well, walking as often as you can. As the weather gets better and better, this becomes easier and easier. If that's not possible and you do live a significant distance away from APA, then using public transport as opposed to a car. So perhaps politely decline a ride from your parents and instead take the bus or a train. How about your diets? We all need to eat, and eating is very important, but the impacts of our diets are wide-ranging on the environment. How about you try this week to cut down the amount of meat that you're eating? How about you decide to perhaps go vegan or vegetarian for a whole week? And then it comes down to the issue of recycling. Whilst we may not have recycling facilities at school, it could potentially be down to you to take things that you've used, for example, in an art lesson home where you know they can be recycled. And at home, of course, you'd be able to do recycling through the bags provided by your council. Now, I know you've been told about things like this before, and perhaps in the past you may have thought these are small things that would have no impact at all. But I'd like you to consider the following if you do any of these activities. Perhaps out of these four, you can do all four of them, or you come up with ones yourself. What is a big thing, if not a collection of small things put together? The big thing, of course, is us as humankind trying to tackle climate change, and the small things, which often get put down by people as being perhaps useless or having no impact, like walking or recycling, will and do have a serious impact. Have a lovely rest of the week, APA, and I hope that you can take up this challenge.